How to keep working if you don't feel like it. Every employee has moments when they don't feel like working, but they should. Here are a few strategies to help complete all kinds of endeavors. Motivating yourself is difficult. This effort is comparable to the feat of Baron Munchausen. Maintaining enthusiasm throughout a project, or even an entire career, is little easier than pulling yourself out of a swamp by your hair. It seems that our psyche itself resists constant effort, and neither liters of coffee nor inspirational quotes will help here. However, effective professionals have a complex art of self-motivation, and this is one of the traits that distinguish them from other people. But how to force yourself to move towards the goal when you do not want to? Everyone is motivated differently, and what inspires one may not impress another. Also, some people show more persistence than others. After 20 years of research on motivation, we've formulated some effective strategies to help you complete a wide variety of endeavors like losing weight, saving for old age, or implementing a challenging initiative at your company. 4 sets of techniques can help keep you motivated. Think about the goal, not the hardship. With a plan in place beforehand, salespeople close more deals, and athletes get more out of their workouts. Abstract goals: try to do better, work noticeably worse than concrete ones, get 10 new clients in a month, or walk 10,000 steps in a day. The first rule is this: goals must be concrete. In addition, goals should, if possible, evoke intrinsic rather than extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation suggests that the goal is important in and of itself. Extrinsic motivation suggests that it is just a way to get a reward or avoid punishment. Intrinsic motivation is more conducive to success. Take New Year's Day promises, for example. We've found, the more satisfying the promise you make to yourself, the more likely you are to keep it, even if it's not the most important thing, like taking a yoga class or giving up the phone on Saturdays. New Year's Eve pledges are usually hard to keep, though otherwise they wouldn't be necessary. Many hold on to their position just for the money, feeling like salary slaves. But in such situations, people usually work without enthusiasm. This proves that external motivation alone does not lead to true success. My research has shown that most people find it important to maintain good relationships with their colleagues and superiors. That said, they don't recall office discipline influencing their success in past positions, nor do they consider it necessary for continued growth. Conclusion: to help yourself achieve a lot, you need to consider intrinsic motivation when choosing a position and projects. If this is not possible, we do not always do what we love. After all, it is important to learn to find at least something enjoyable in the work. Think more often about how to get satisfaction from the duties. Perhaps an unloved position gives you a chance to show your skills to management, or make useful connections, or help a lot of people. Finally, you can always break up the boring tasks with something enjoyable, listening to music while sorting out the mail, or doing chores with friends, family, or close colleagues. Find effective incentives if you're facing a particularly challenging task, or you've begun a challenging career period. Think of external motivators for yourself short or medium term. It's especially good if they complement the rewards from the organization. For example, decide that you'll take a vacation or treat yourself to a desirable purchase after completing a project. But try to avoid false goals. Don't reward yourself for the number of tasks completed or the speed of work if the true goal is to improve quality. An accountant who rewards himself for completing an audit project quickly has probably made a bunch of mistakes, and a salesperson who rewards himself for some amount of sales without taking into account the proportion of repeat purchases has probably lost some customers. Another mistake is choosing rewards that destroy the result you've achieved. If, as a reward for last week's hard work, you allow yourself to relax in the current week, it will blur the impression of your successes. Psychologists say that achieving goals people often perceive as a kind of indulgence and end up taking a step back. Not all rewards are equally effective. Experiments have shown most people are more actively fighting, spending more effort, time and money, for a non-guaranteed reward, 50% chance of getting $150 and 50% only $50, than for a guaranteed 100% chance of getting $100, perhaps the fact that the first causes more excitement. At work, non-guaranteed incentives are difficult to create, but possible. Introduce an element of play. Ask employees to choose at random one of two envelopes, with a smaller or larger amount, for successfully completing a task. Fear of loss can sometimes motivate more than the desire to receive a reward. In 2016, researchers at the University of Pennsylvania asked people to walk 7,000 steps every day for 6 months. Some participants were paid $1.40 for each successful day. Others had to give the same amount for each unsuccessful day. The latter reached their goal 1.5 times more often. There are online services, such as StickK.com, which allow users to choose a goal, such as quit smoking, and penalize themselves for not achieving it, donate money to an organization or political party they dislike. As a rule, the greatest interest is seen at the beginning and end of a project, while the middle sags. In one experiment, participants who cut figures out of paper tried hardest at the beginning and end of the process, while in the middle they slacked off more often. Fortunately, there are ways to overcome this weakness of ours. 1. Set intermediate goals. If the time intervals between such goals are small, let's say you set not only quarterly, but also weekly sales goals, there simply won't be time to procrastinate. 2. Change the way we look at the progress we've made. When we feel like we've come a good part of the way, and the goal is close, we step up our efforts. For example, consumers start spending more when they see that the amount of purchases will soon qualify them for a loyalty program award. Try to mentally push the start of a project farther into the past. For example, count down its time from the moment you have the idea, not from the start of work. Another psychological trick is to focus the first half of the project on what's already done, and the second half on what's left to do. This helps to increase motivation. For example, to encourage purchases, at the beginning it is useful to show the client how much he has already bought. You have already made 2 purchases out of 10, and at the end how much more you need to buy. You are only 2 purchases away from the bonus. This tactic works well for both routine tasks, say, sending out 40 thank you notes, and more complex tasks, learning to play the piano. The person doing the newsletter, to increase motivation, should first think about how the volume of things done grows, and after 20 emails, think about how the volume of things not done shrinks. Man, a creature of the social. We are constantly looking back and in many ways guided by the actions of others. Even the simple proximity to a productive colleague can improve our results. However, it's more complicated with motivation. At the sight of a colleague who easily handles a task that puts us in a bind, we can react in different ways, either to be inspired or to lose interest and decide that others will do the job better than you. True, it is not always possible to delegate tasks, especially at work. But you can use the influence of the environment to your own advantage.